This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. How are we doing this beautiful Saturday morning? My name is Vivian Obiajun. I'm a business analyst within the innovation team here at Stanbic IBTC. And thank you very much for joining us once again. I'll be your host for today. I'll be hosting alongside the brilliant Ifunanya Obieli, who is also a data analyst within the innovation team. Hi, Ifunanya, if you can just say hello to everyone. Good morning. How are you doing today?
Hi, Vivian. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Happy to be hosting this event today.
Good morning. Oh, I can see the messages coming in already. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining again. We're looking forward to having a very fun, interactive, and most importantly, rewarding session. Interactive as it is, please leave your comments in the chat box. There's going to be a networking session towards the later part of this event. So let's get to know you. Have your LinkedIn web links, maybe your business pages ready, and definitely your CVs, because at some point we would try to get to know everyone, at least everyone that is interested on the call. So today we will be talking about building a career in tech, specifically for women in tech, how we would be breaking the glass ceiling. Next slide, please. Yes, so this is basically what we have for you today. Like I said earlier, we've got a lot planned. There's going to be a lot of fun. Again, keep it interactive. There'll be games to be won. There'll be gifts to be won. There'll be games to be played and gifts to be won. And we will be speaking to 4 amazing women, 2 speakers. And just before we get into it, we'd just like to, a bit of housekeeping. What are the ground rules for today's event? So it's a live event, as you know. You'll be unable to raise your hands or ask questions. But again, we have the chat room where you can type all your questions. And at some point during this conversation, we would get around to some of those questions. We'd love to have you mentally present. Please try not to multitask. And participation is highly encouraged. Post your questions, comments, jokes, if you will, in the chat room, and we will just keep it rolling. Of course, I said there are prizes to be won. So please listen attentively and participate in the icebreakers. Yes, if you'd like to get to know you better, please submit your resume at the later part of this event. And we'll also have a survey feedback form that would come in again later towards the end. So you please just help us complete that. Let's quickly see the ladies that we'll be talking to today. Again, I said we've got a full lineup. We're talking to Bisola Alabi this morning. She's the founder of Heels and Tech. We would also have Olatokunbo Ogunlade talk to us today. She's currently a systems engineer at Factorial HR. Muyonlua Ayeniko is also on our lineup. I'm lucky to work with Muyi. She's a developer at Stanbic IBTC Bank. And last but definitely not the least is Ibifuru Apiafi. Very powerful ladies. Yes, I am very powerful. I'm lucky to know Furu so well because she used to be my former boss. Yes, she did head the innovation team here at Stanbic IBTC. So to get us rolling to kick off today's event. We'll be taking the welcome address from the very wonderful Bumi Dayo Olagunju. Bumi is currently the head of client solutions here at Stanbic IBTC and also an executive director with us. So please join me to welcome Bumi to the virtual podium. Round of applause, please, if you may. Good morning, Bumi. Over to you, please.
Thank you so much, Vivian. Indeed, it is a beautiful Saturday morning. Good morning, ladies. It's with great pleasure indeed that I welcome you to this second edition of our Stanbic IBTC Women in Tech event. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday, precious Saturday morning, to join us at this event. I can assure you that it will be time well spent. Today's world is driven a lot by technology, whether it's the one in use at home, at work, travel, medicine, every single facet of our lives that you can think of. There's some layer of technology in there. So the advancements from tech continue to present many opportunities to us. And as women, we should be poised to take advantage of those opportunities as they come across. We are operational across many, if not all, spheres of life. New businesses, creating opportunity employment, improving localization. Everywhere we are set up, we should be able to leverage technology to maximize, our opportunities. We took a look at some of the studies that have, been done by various bodies, and it seemed to, revolve around the consensus that globally, only about 30% of professionals in the tech field, are women. This is not a representation level that we're happy yet with, and we believe that factors responsible for it should be addressed. Some of these factors include cultural beliefs, societal limitations, what have you. Some of these we would explore in the conversation today. The reason for this initiative, Women in Tech, we conceived it so as to bridge the gap of women representation in technology. The theme for this year's event is building a career in tech, break the glass ceiling. And with today's conversation, we will attempt to debunk some of the myths, that have presented as obstacles to us women fulfilling our potential in the tech world today. As Vivian mentioned, we'll be discussing with very seasoned women who have become chiefs of their respective tech careers, and we will glean from them from a very experiential perspective, how they've risen to the top, and possibly pick one or two things from their repertoire of knowledge, which they would share with us today. And this is all aimed at, enabling us build a profitable career as women in technology. It promises to be a very enlightening session, and I would enjoy you to stay with us, engage fully in the conversation, and get the very best out of your time with us this morning. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so very much, Bumi. If we could just give her a round of applause, just to support her. Thank you very much for getting us started, Bumi. Very wonderful speech. We will quickly just go into a round. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll quickly just go into an icebreaker. And I'll hand over to you when I have to handle this. Yes, it is called Truth, Truths, and a Lie. Okay, this sounds interesting. Ifnaya, over to you.
Thank you, Vivian, and good morning, everyone. So Bumi has set us off, and then just to get us energized and ready for the day, we're going to be playing a little icebreaker. Really, what this entails is we have three statements. We actually have two sets of three statements. Of the three statements, two are true and one is a lie. All I'll just need you to do is in the chat box, enter the number that represents the lie out of the three statements. We're looking out for you. And then there might be, in fact, there's something to be won from this round. So let's go. First statement, the first computer mouse was made from plastic. Nintendo originally made playing cards, and a jiffy is an actual measurement of time. So I'm waiting for responses. Let's see who and who will be able to get this. Okay, we have a number of responses. The first person I see who got it correct was Adiola Adenubi. Yes, the first computer mouse was not made from plastic. So I think for us, we would have our winners for this session as Adiola Adenubi and Amobi Ifoma. The answer to this question is the first computer mouse was not made from plastic. The first computer mouse was actually made from wood, and it was then called a mouse because of like the cord sticking out of it from behind. Nintendo actually originally made playing cards up till today. In Japan, they're actually still known for making playing cards. And a jiffy is an actual measurement of time. A jiffy really is a measurement of time. When you say a jiffy, you're referring to 10 milliseconds. Okay, so we have our winners from the first one. We'll be moving on to the next one. Samsung is 38 years older than Apple. Shape of You is the most viewed video on YouTube, and Amazon was initially named Kadabara. Waiting for responses. Okay. Okay. So the answer to this question, I'll just move ahead. The answer to this question is Shape of You is the most viewed video on YouTube. No, Shape of You is not the most viewed video on YouTube. The most viewed video on YouTube is actually Baby Shark dance. I'm sure we're all pretty familiar with this. And from what I can see here, our first winner for this came from Okoje Mercy. Okoje Mercy was the first winner of this, and Ngozi Chukuma was the second winner of this. So I'll be handing over to Vivian. Thank you guys for your participation. There is more to come, so just stay tuned. Thank you and thank you. Vivian, over to you.
Thank you, Funa. I honestly have no clue that the first mouse was made from wood. That's an interesting thing to know, and I'm glad I heard that today. Thank you, Florian, for taking us through that. We'll just quickly go right into it. We're trying to be very conscious of time because there's a lot to learn, and we're trying to fit it into such little time. So we'll quickly go into our first presentation. It would be taken by Bisola Alabi. She'll be speaking to our chances and our choices, how women are taking off in tech. Bisola is currently she founded Heels and Tech, and this is a community where she teaches women on how to transition from, their basic careers into technology, regardless of their educational background or wherever you're coming from. Bisola would be talking to us, leveraging her experience, what she's seen, just getting women started in technology, basically. So I'll just quickly hand over to Bisola. Good morning, Bisola. Bisola, can you hear me?
Good morning, Vivian. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. So good to see you this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so over to you. I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, so you can take over the presentation now. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so you need to give me the permission to share my screen. Thank you, Ayamba. Good. I think we are good now, right? Can everyone see my screen? Hi, Vivian.
Yes, Bisola, your screen is up now.
Oh,
we can see it.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for having me here. I'm so privileged and grateful to be here to share my opportunity, building a community at Use and Tech, and to share how women are taking off in the tech space. So a little about me. My name is Bisola. I'm a mom of 2 toddlers. I graduated from Obafemi Awolowo University, studied economics. So economics being that I intentionally put that because one of the frequently asked questions you get is, oh, I did not study computer engineering. Can I get into tech? Oh, yes, you can get into tech. And I'll be discussing that later. I started my career in tech and has worn many hats since then. As an introvert, right, my hobbies include, sharing knowledge, researching, visiting restaurants, and just having fun with my friends. So about Use and Tech, we started Use and Tech at the heat of the pandemic when families were losing their jobs. And as someone who loves to share knowledge, I created a community where I was sharing knowledge on how women could get into the tech space without coding. Remember, I started my career in tech, but I never touched the line of code. So people were surprised because the trend back then was, tech bro, Python, coding, engineering, and it was just all boring and, scary. So what we've done so far in the past 2 years is that we've increased our women's earnings by $7.2 million. We have community members from 18 countries. So we've gotten jobs as a result of upskilling in technology. We still have a long way to go. 7.2 million is little as compared to the target that Accenture set. Accenture sets that by 2025, women should have increased their earnings by 229 billion. So at Use and Tech and every other community members, we have a long way to go. So the world has evolved greatly, right? So without the pandemic, the industry 4.0 was looking around, right? But the pandemic accelerated it. And I'll start talking from industry 1.0, where we used to use us as the major transportation, and then how men came together, like the Henry Ford, to come up, with a vehicle that could improve transportation. And if you look at the trend here from 1784 down to 1870, down to 1969, the men took over these industries. It wasn't like the women were not interested, but I would say that there are so many factors that held us behind, right? And we can't afford to miss that in this industry 4.0. Sorry, I'm a teacher, so I'll be, pointing at important things that I feel you should note. Currently, 2.1 billion women lack digital skills. That's a lot. That's a large number. And studies have shown that it's not like they're not interested, right? It's usually like maybe they're not interested in tech. No, from Use and Tech, the women are interested. I've never met a woman that has never been interested. But maybe one of the factors could be maybe social cultural norms, which I'll be talking in lately. So they are interested. Then we need these skills. They are lacking these skills. And studies have also shown that when women take over, businesses, the businesses increase in profit, right? So it's an economic challenge. It's not something that we have to take for granted. In fact, I believe every woman should jump, not even crawl, like they should jump into the industry 4.0, into digitization, and take advantage of it. So these are the stereotypes on why women are not involved. Early interest in chores, like the men should fix the fans, the men should do the plumbing works. They should focus on things that would improve their intellect, right? As a young boy, right? While the women stay in the kitchen, they're cooking, even down to secondary school, universities, you see women groups, food and nutrition, the ladies are there while the men are introverted, right? And one of the skills you need in technology is the ability to, concentrate fully. You need to be able to think deeply about finding a solution to something, right? It's not just all fun and games. So while women are, I don't want to say waste time, in domestic chores, because there's a figure that says women spend 75% of their time in domestic chores. Imagine spending 75% of your time on domestic chores, cooking, cleaning, breastfeeding. Breastfeeding alone as a woman, you spend at least, let's just say, even if you're not calculating breastfeeding, right? Maybe you are using the pumps, the manual pumps, you spend at least 20 minutes per pump, right? And women do that like 7 times, 5 times a day. That's like over $1,600 hours of your time. That's if you calculate that, that's equal to a full-time job, right? So women are missing out on a lot of things due to domestic chores, right? Social cultural norms like I would use an example from Use and Tech, right? So when women have challenges, right, we also experiencing that when they have to drop out to join the next cohort, right? Which is why, a female-focused community is much more important, because you also need to listen to them to know what problems they're facing. A lot of times you hear, oh, my mother is sick and I have to be the one to take care of her. You just never hear that, oh, maybe the men has never complained about that. Or maybe when they have to come to class with their babies or their kids. When men join our community and enroll in our courses, then they do join, right? Despite the fact that it's a female-focused community, right? I've never heard a man complain that, oh, my baby is making noise, please give me some time, let me attend to my child, you understand, while you teach. It's always the women. And these are social cultural norms. These are things that are putting us behind, right? So there are communities already, sensitizing us on how the men should get involved, right? Because it's affecting our pay, it's affecting our earnings, right? It's affecting every aspect of our life. It's even affecting us jumping on the tech wagon. But we can't escape it. We just need to understand that it's one of those things. And despite the fact that it's happening, we need to just juggle, find a way around it. Technophobia is there. People believe that tech is hard, and it's not hard, because if you as a woman can push out a baby, that's like one of the hardest things ever. I'm sure that you can do difficult things, and our women at Use and Tech have done that already. They've shown that despite all odds, they can afford it. So I went online to check for the top billionaires in tech, and even for the first 20, I didn't see any woman. I did not see any woman. The only woman I saw was the wife of the founder of Amazon, and that was as a result of our affiliates with her ex-husband, right? So you can see that we have a lot to do, and they are billionaires. They have the money. You can see them. One of the things they buy is private jets, right? They know how to have fun. Of course, they will donate to causes. They buy Twitter. But imagine if it was a woman. Imagine if it was a woman that has access to such funds and wealth. So these are some of the women who are breaking barrier. Like my beautiful slides was great. I did that on Canva, and this is the founder. It's a woman, right? She the last I checked, what was $4 billion. That's still little compared to having worth trillions of dollars, right? But we are striving, we are getting there. And this is another woman who is breaking the breaking the barrier. This is the founder of Bubble, an app that has like over $55 million. And then we also have the Epic systems. So yes, there are several facets to technology. There's the B2B, there's the B2C. A lot of people might not know this woman here in Africa, but in the healthcare industry in the United States, she's controlling the healthcare industry. She built an application whereby she has been able to store 200 million patients' records in the health industry, right? And as a billionaire, she made up her mind that 99% of our wealth will be donated. That's something that a woman would do. A man will donate 50% or something, you understand? So again, it's not a gender war, but I'm just talking about the fact that on how we can jump on it. So I'm sure you're wondering, so how do I get into it? There are several opportunities. You could decide to create a startup. You can decide to come in as an employee, right? You can decide to join the coding, the non-coding, and then the engineering aspect. So when I mean coding, engineering, those are the people that do the Python, CS, and those codes. I've had people ask us that, what does Python mean? Like, is that a name of an animal? No, it's just the coding language, right? And then if you're not interested in any of that, right, which I totally understand, there are several aspects like business analysis, product marketing, user experience. You could also learn how to use enterprise applications that large enterprise organizations use, so that you can, get into the system. And if you decide that, oh, I've always been an entrepreneur, I'm a problem solver, you can decide to look into femtech. For example, we ladies have an app that we used to, track our menstrual period, right? Our ovulation. You can decide to do that. And in Nigeria, we have women who are building fintechs, edtech like Plesha. I love this app so much. This is where I purchase my, dollar, right? To be able to fund my dollar account. Women are doing that already. And if you decide that, oh, I do not have funds, there are several funds. I'm sure Endeavor is here, right? Furo will be speaking on how to go about that. There's micro acquire, there's First Check. For First Check, some organizations will give you like maybe 100K USD to get like 7.5% of your percent of your company, right? So the opportunities are there for women. The only thing is we need to look inward to see how we can tap into it. And when people say tech, that they believe it's an industry. No, just like our keynote speaker said, it cuts across all industries. Just name it. Okay, so the healthcare industry is not here, but it cuts across healthcare, especially for industry 4.0 now, where there's so much technology has advanced, right? In financial industry, you see them in fintech, in banking industry. We are here because, Stanbic Bank is leveraging technology, right? Telecommunications, MTN can reach out to billions of their customers because they can leverage on technology. So it's the same thing with education. Some people would say, oh, I'm a teacher. Do you think I can do it? Oh, yes. The future of education is gamification, right? And of course, to go into virtual reality, and we need to start thinking of how to progress. There are industries that companies have already taken advantage of it. So if you're wondering, how do I start? There are two ways to start. One, you need to leverage on your soft skills, and you also need to leverage and learn the hard skills. Hard skills are the technical part. That's very easy to learn. But for the soft skills are things that you already have. You could be a strong negotiation, and you could have strong negotiation skills. Because in technology is about working in teams, collaboration. So it means that you will be negotiating with your team members, with stakeholders on how to complete your project on time. If you have this skill, we need you in technology, right? The only thing that you need to do is upskill. like learn the technical aspect, the hard aspect. Oh, how strong are you with your emotional intelligence? Are you someone that when in a group of people, when you are there, everybody begins to fight? Or when you are there, people just love you. You know how to manage everyone. We need you in the tech skills, right? Are you creative? Have you seen those beautiful applications and you're wondering how does this how were they able to come up with this, combine these colors and this application? We also need the communication skills, critical skills, right? These are things that you need. Some people say, oh, I'm an introvert, I don't like to speak with people. It's okay. It's okay if you don't like to speak with people. You could leverage on your critical thinking. Introverts are known to be thinkers. So whatever it is, you have that innate skills. You only need to identify it and see how a particular role can fit into it while you upskill. So imagine if women dominated this industry. What do you think would happen? What do you think would happen? All the social cultural norms that we've been talking about, I'm sure women would find solutions to it. And we always encourage our students at Use and Tech to do that. Think about how, especially for our students abroad, one of the major issues is childcare, loneliness. Have you thought about how technology can fix all these social cultural norms, right? These are things that we need women to come up with, because a man will not solve it for us. A man does not understand that you spend 30 minutes breastfeeding and the milk spilled away and you're just crying. Nobody understands what we face, right? And studies have also shown that a woman gives nearly as half as much compared to men due to charity. Even if we don't have, even if it's just 50 naira that we have, a woman will find a way to give it out. So imagine if a woman has such access to such wealth, right? The world will become a better place. The economy would improve and flourish. Everybody will be happy. So we need, women to jump on board, right? So I'll leave you with this. You can do anything, right? Because we've identified that fear is a lot of women's problem. They believe that they can't do it, but you can do anything. You can be anything you want to be, as long as you believe in yourself and work hard. So I'll stop here and the floor is open for any questions. Thank you, and looking forward to your questions in the chat box.
Wow. Thank you so very much, Bisola. I think we can all jointly agree that she did a fantastic job there. Please, just a virtual round of applause for her. Thank you so very much, Bisola. We appreciate you and your words of wisdom there. If you have questions for Bisola, I'm sure that you do. Please leave them in the chat room. We will get to it. And there's going to be a panel session later. Some of your questions will be taken in and addressed at that point. Thank you very much, Bisola. If there's nothing that I picked from your presentation, is you can start from anywhere. The most important thing is just leverage the soft skills that you have. Then you can layer on it by building additional skills, like technical skills required to do the work. And you must make the choice first. Yes, you must make the choice first that you need to go into this particular field. Thank you for highlighting the fields for us, Bisola. And we had said we had a lot of gains for you today. So we'll quickly go into another one. And as usual, I have the very lovely Ifunanya to take us through this next session. Thank you very much. Ifunanya, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Vivian. I'll just ask Bisola to please stop sharing her screen so I can do that. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Please let me know when you can see my
presentation. We're making good time. So we'll just quickly take the presentation from Olatokunbo Ogunlade. She'll be speaking to us about being the only one in the room. Tokunbo's story is actually a very interesting one, and I would urge us to please listen. She's currently a systems engineer at Factorial HR. where she deploys and supports cloud infrastructure software to meet the requirements of the application developers. She's also the founder of the Coding Mom, and this is a community that supports mothers to break into tech. She's a graduate of computer sciences from Olabisi Onabanjo University. She started software engineering in 2018, and this was an intern where she was transitioning from being a stay-at-home mom. By 2019, Olatokunbo had become a front-end engineer, and she later transitioned into cloud engineering. She's committed to creating a coding culture that seeks to increase women and children's participation, and she's also a volunteer with organizations like She Code Africa and Techstar Amazon. Please make a very warm welcome for Tokunbo as she joins us this morning. Please, if you have questions, again, remember to put them in the comment section. We'll get to it during the Q&A session. Good morning, Tokunbo.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Please confirm that you can hear and see me.
I can hear you. I can see you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for allowing me to share this Saturday morning with you. Right. So let's just go straight to it. So this morning, I'm just going to be trying to do justice to this topic, which is very, very dear to my heart, being the only one in the room, right? So, I mean, to make it, to just make it sound very kind of funky and just straightforward because it's a mouthful. So I'll just be referring to this as being an only, right? So when I say being an only, you understand that I'm just basically speaking to being the only one in the room. All right, so just a quick introduction to myself, about myself and then what I do. So yeah, I'm a systems engineer, have experience in DevOps engineering, site reliability engineering, provisioning, configuration, and infrastructure management. And then I've accomplished a lot of work around continuous integrations, delivery pipelines, containerization, and orchestration. Yes, it's a mouthful and it's a lot. But behind all these technical jargons, it's a lot of technical stuff and all, but it's not that difficult. Yeah, it's challenging, but not absolutely not difficult. Okay, so I want to just do a quick, more like a quick introduction of, or a quick brief or a background story of my experiences as being an only, right? So just as it was stated in my profile, I started off, I read computer science, but honestly, I could have read Yoruba, I could have read agriculture, or I could have read anything else because it was very difficult for me because I didn't understand the thing while in school, as in I didn't understand it. It was a miracle that I even graduated at the end of the day, right? So I would say my first, I was familiar with computer science and all that, but the technicalities of writing code and all that, I had no idea, honestly. I had no idea. So in 2018, I broke into tech, right? The circumstances surrounding all that, we'll discuss that later. But all through my 4 years, right, in tech, I think the question for me is, when have I not been an only? Most often than not, I've always been the only one in the room. There hasn't really been anyone, right, that looks like me. Right now, I'm the only one in my department as a systems engineer, right? And of course, I'm grateful that we have like about less than 30 women, right, that are coding in my company right now, in the midst of, let's say, about 160 other engineers. I'm still grateful that at least we have that community, so small, but it's kind of closely knitted. We mentor each other, we sponsor each other, and it's an amazing one. When I started off, it was very difficult for me to share my experiences with people because I felt like I didn't belong in the room. I felt like there's always this intimidation and people having been talked up, having been talked down on and all. I was very, very intimidated. But I learned, my experiences taught me a lot along the way. I learned a lot. The key thing for me was being very courageous. I held on to courage a lot, right? And a lot of times where, there was a particular time that I asked myself that, what am I doing here? Let me just go and do business. Let me go and sell bed sheet or something. but like I've invested too much, right, to just go back. So, I mean, I've always, most of the time, I mean, a lot of the times been an only. These are some of the realities I really want to point out of being an only. First, being an only puts you under pressure to perform. You're always on guard and you're isolated. This is from my experience. I mean, there are times where when I was a front-end engineer working on a feature branch, and I was just so much I was under a lot of pressure that I mistakenly deleted a feature branch, right? And for those that are familiar with Git, Git version control, you know what that means. It was as if I hit on Git lost command, kind of, for lack of better words. And that was because I was under pressure. How far, Tokumbo, how far? I just mistakenly deleted the whole feature branch, right? Although, I mean, we're able to backtrack and all that, but it was so much for me, right? And this was because, you know, there was no one I could really reach out to. It was just too much pressure for me. Also, there's this thing of being so conspicuous. You're in a meeting, you're the only one in the meeting room that's a female, right? You're doing what's it called? An epic. You're working on an epic and you're the only one. Sorry, I'm using a lot of technical terms, but what I mean by an epic is like you're working on maybe a particular application, a feature of that application, and it's broken down into different modules, right? And you're working on a part of it. And you realize that you're the only one there. So everybody's eyes is on you. You want to say something, everybody just feels their attention. And it's so very uncomfortable. And also being an only has an impact on how you can perform. Of course, making reference to how I deleted the whole feature branch while I was trying to, you know, merge a feature branch. I mean, when I was trying to merge different Git conflicts, right? It also has a way of communicating that underrepresented groups are less competent and that they don't belong in the room. So there are times where there was this very funny situation that happened. I was in a meeting, we had just like new managers that came in and everything. And of course, I was the only woman on that team. I was the only man in that meeting. And one of the guys just came in and said, TK, please, will you take the minutes of this meeting? I'm like, why should I take the minutes? Excuse me, I'm the front-end developer of this project. Right? I felt so angry. Like, why should I take the minutes? Right? So this, I mean, it's just a reality. It is what it is, right? He didn't mean it that way, but unfortunately it happened that way. All right. So I want to quickly delve on. Okay, let me just quickly do this. Give me a minute. Sorry. Yeah. Let me quickly delve on how I navigated being the only one in the room. Right. And these are my real life experiences. I'll be spending a bit more time on this slide. First, for me, this is key. This is the most important part. Embrace being the only one in the room. The fact that you're the only one in the room is not a disadvantage. I've been able to leverage on this and use this for my advantage. I mean, I was able to see, I mean, I got to the point that, look, my skills, my talents, I mean, born in the midnight or brought me here. You opened this door for me. I will embrace it. I don't need anybody's permission, right, to validate. I don't need anybody's validation or permission to stay in the room. As long as I'm in this room, I give myself permission to be the best at what I do, right? This being the only one in the room has given me so much ginger, so much pump to prove myself. I'm not proving myself to anybody. I'm proving myself to myself and showing that, yes, I'm here and I can do this, right? Embrace being the only one in the room, right? 2, build your confidence. I can stay on this forever, right? I can stay on this forever. See, confidence looks good on you. See, a lot of the times I might not be, I mean, I'm giving a task. I don't know what to do, in all honesty. I don't even know how to figure it out. It looks very vague to me, right? But the truth of the matter is, TK, can you deliver on this task? Yes, I can. I will commit first. Then I will figure out how to do it. I'll figure out, because as if it's done before, I'm sure somebody has done it before. I just need to search, right? I need to do a lot of research. I need to ask questions. And every team I belong to, they know me. I ask questions like I will bother you. I'll keep asking questions. There's this thing I have, which is called the importunity. I keep coming. Like, I will wreck you with questions. I will wreck you with questions. So If you're invited to the room, you belong in the room. This is my mantra. I belong in the room. And I make it my responsibility to be an integral part of every conversation. I make sure that every conversation I am in, I'm bringing value, right? So that you won't say that you didn't hear me. You won't say that what I'm saying is nonsense. Do you get? The third step is dare to be yourself. Everyone that knows me know that I'm myself, right? I'm unapologetically myself. I say whatever I want to say. I act whatever I want to act. And this is because this is when I'm myself that I can bring my best, my authentic self to work. If I'm hiding behind the shadows of my colleagues or something, I just begin to do nonsense, right? But when I'm myself, I'm always very goofy, I like being the life of the party wherever I am. So I just act that way. Even in serious meetings, there's always a sense of humor in whatever I'm trying to do, right? The first step is know your purpose. This is also very key. Know your purpose is actually, in this context, it is, why are you here? Like, why are you doing the things that you're doing? For me, it's not a template. It's not one size that fits all. Where I am right now, my purpose is to show that I have value that I have to offer, and I have value to give to others. I have value to impact others. I want mothers to see me and say, yes, she's doing it, I can do it. I want my daughter to see me and say, I want to be like mommy, right? Give her the courage she needs, right? To break the barriers, to break all glass ceilings. Do you get? So I highlighted some questions here. Who do you want to impact? What are your values? Can others identify your values through your life and work? These are questions that only you can answer. Then who will impact you? This is also very key. This is also very, very key. You need to be drawing from a source. You can't do life alone, right? I belong also to a larger community, and our mantra is don't do life alone. You can't do things. You can't be giving unto others and not be receiving from somewhere. You need to be plugged to a source. Okay, final step, you need a mentor and an ally, actually. Honestly, for me, I had an amazing ally, which was my first line manager. His name is Steve John. He's the most amazing person I've met. This guy, to a large extent, pushed me to where I am today because he believed in me so much that there was the day I asked him that, Steve, what do you see in me? I don't get, what do you see in me? It's not going to come as if you want to marry me. I'm married, right? He will say something, TK, just keep doing what you are doing. If you don't get rewarded here, you will be rewarded. You will sow. He said something to me that stuck. He says, you reap what you sow, not where you sow. The fact that you are doing all this here, you are still an intern, and it looks as if nobody is seeing you. I see you, I value you, and God also sees you. He will reward you. Those words always stick with me, and they give me that permission to always bring my best. Even when it seems as if I'm not being rewarded for it, I'm not being seen for it, I always keep remembering this. Steve was my ally. He invested so much in me, spoke for me. He ensured that at every point in time, every time I'm in a meeting, my voice was always heard. So you need an ally. I can't overemphasize this, right? You need an ally. Okay, so let me rush through to the next slide. I hope I'm good on time. Okay, so this is a very vital one too, right? What role can an organization play to minimize the number of owners? Because whether I like it or not, as much as you're trying to do all these things for yourself, right? If you are being antagonized on your team, your organization, and it seems as if everybody's against you, as an only, you will actually be frustrated. Unfortunately, I have about too many real life examples of women that have switched away from tech-related roles to other roles because they were the only ones in the room, and it was very, very intimidating for them. Do you get? But if they had a lot of support from their team members, from the organization, it would have made more sense. They would have remained. If they had like a Steve that I had at the beginning of my career, they would have still been there. So I felt that I just decided to put this slide there that, look, and we need organization, we need more men allies, we need a lot of organizations to believe in us that, look, how can we make, as much as it's not, of course, it can't truly be a level playing field, but how can we make an environment, create an environment where only can bring their best self to work. The first is awareness. Realize that, understand what onlys are, right? If there are onlys in the organization, speak to them, understand their point of view, their perspective, their experiences, and help them. Make sure that their voices are heard. Do everything that you can to make sure that they bring their, they are supported, they are helped, they are rewarded, and all that. Also, invest in diversifying your team. Invest in diversifying your team. A diverse team is more likely to grow. I read in this what's it called? Harvard Business Review, that the best way to unlock innovation in a team is to diversify the team. And this is because diversification will create an environment where out-of-the-box ideas are heard. This just blew my mind, literally. Because honestly, people have different experiences. Mothers, girls, women, divorces, whatever. Women have very, very rich experiences. And when you're bringing that on your team, they'll help you see, sometimes they help you relate to a product or a feature the way the customer would relate to it in a way that you were not even thinking before. I've seen this play out 1,000,001 times, right? So the best thing an organization can do, right, is to invest so much in diversifying their team. I can't overemphasize this. All right, so I just want to wrap up with this. Women who work day-to-day in teams that have more women, more diverse voices at the table, are more likely having a better experience. They are able to bring their best selves to work. They will get mentorship, they'll get sponsorship, and of course, they are most likely to rise over time, right? They're likely to rise over time is much higher. The first place I worked, Venture Guardian Group, there was this community of women mentors that was, of course, it wasn't just tech related, it was just across board, across all the different areas and everything, but they were basically just women. And we had mentors, we had people that spoke for us. So some of us that were in the lower cadre, right, had particular, like maybe a mentor or a sponsor where we shared our experiences, where we shared the issues that we're facing and all that, and they were able to speak with us. And I can say that the person that was assigned to, her name is Fumi. At that time, I was trying to coping with my child that was ill and the critical features I had to deliver at work concerning this application that we were building. She just helped me to make sense of balancing, and not just by mouth. She gave me like practical support, how I could help, how she could help out and everything. And it just made sense. Of course, it was not as if she was helping me to code and all that, but the advice she gave me, right, were so practical. I was able to apply, and at the end of it, everything just made sense. It's difficult being an only, honestly, but there are ways that we can help ourselves. There are ways that other people can also help us, having mentors, having allies. So my plea is, if you work in a team that has an only, or you are an only, do everything. If you are an only, the last words, the steps I shared are what will see you through, what will help you go through, right? If you're working with an only, just do everything, I beg you, within your power to make sure that this person is comfortable, her voice is heard, her value is seen, and at the end of the day, you'll be doing the team a lot of favor, and this only more favor too. So thank you. I hope I'm good with time. Thank you very much. So over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, TK. Yes, you did fantastic with time, and that was a beautiful presentation. Very insightful. I mentioned when we started that Tukumbo had a very interesting story, and we'll get to those parts later. She did mention a couple of things that stuck with me, and this is embrace being the only one in the room. For the most part, we would get into the room, be the only one, and this is even just speaking practically. The first thing we want to do is step out and try to analyze it. But when you get in, embrace it, use your strengths, even if you are just starting out, again, remember that when Bisola was speaking, she said, leverage the skills that you currently have and then build on the skills that you need for later. So thank you very much again, TK. Again, if you have questions, please leave them here. We would definitely get to them later in the conversation. At this time, I am going to call on my beautiful games master. Any more music? What do you have for us again? If not, let's get this rolling. We have another game for the house.
Thank you, Vivian, and thank you, Tokumbo, for that wonderful presentation. Well, I'll take the title Games Master, not a problem.
You could put it in presentation mode.
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, so the next icebreaker we're going to be getting into is who am I? Really, this is quite simple. There are 3 statements describing a particular individual. All we need you to do is state the name of the individual in the chat room. I'll be looking out for your answers. And so let's go. I'm an American TV personality, actress, and entrepreneur. I have a talk show. I'm a philanthropist and humanitarian. I'm looking out for your answers. Who is going to be the first to answer this? Oh, I can see answers. And the first correct answer was from Olufunke Ajayi, Oprah Winfrey. Very correct. Oprah Winfrey is an American TV personality. We know her for her talk show. And she's also big on philanthropy and, humanitarian acts. Okay, so that is Olufunke Ajayi who won this question. The next question is, I'm the first child of Prince Albert, King George VI. I was born on the 21st of April, and I've lived over 9 decades. I have 4 children with Prince Philip. Can you guys answer? There's an answer already. Olufunke Ajayi again. I'm sorry, Funke, you can't win this. Okay, no, JA, I don't know who JA is, but that was the first correct answer we got. Queen Elizabeth is the correct answer. I'll be moving over to the next one. I was once the Minister of Information and Communication in Nigeria. I served as one of the directors, as a director of one of the leading agencies for 8 years. And in 2012, I published a book titled The War Against Counterfeit Medicine, My Story. I saw a Dora. What do we do? Vivian, do you think we give this? Because you should have written Dora Coinley. But then
it's actually Dora, not Dora. It could be Dora the Explorer. It's Dora Coinley.
Okay, so the first correct answer came from Odira Osego. I hope I didn't murder your name. I'm sorry. We'll just move on to the next one. I empower early stage companies by investing in them via my venture fund. I began my professional career at the age of 14, and I have 23 Grand Slam titles. Let's see. Oh, we have an answer. The answer is Serena Williams. Rashida Ayon Loja has this question correct. Serena Williams is the answer to this question. The next one is, I'm a British Nigerian songwriter. The hit song Somebody's Son is To My Name, and I'm a mother to a 6-year-old boy. The first correct answer came from Chioma Umezinwa. Tiwa Savage is the answer. Tiwa Savage is all of these things. She has a 6-year-old son. We know Somebody's Song. It was played just not long ago, and yeah, the answer is Tiwa Savage. And finally, I graduated with a degree in economics from Harvard University. I'm the first woman and first African to lead one of the largest intergovernmental organizations in Nigeria. I can see answers already. So the first correct answer was from Ebun Oluwatui. The answer is Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Okay, so thank you guys. I'll be handing over to Vivian. We're getting into the next interesting thing about this event. So Vivian, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ifuna. Interesting you say, and interesting it is. We're going into the panel session. Yes, so Yes, we would be talking to four amazing women. I think this is the part where we kind of break everything down. We've listened to Bisola, we've listened to TK, just share their experiences. And now we'll just be going into with some of the questions that we received from you guys. And we would also be talking to Mui and Fro. I'll just quickly introduce my speakers. Bisola, we already met, and Tokumbo, we already met. I would introduce Mui. Mui, good morning. Yes. If you could please show your beautiful face. Mui, I know well. Yeah, so Mui is a software engineer with 4 years experience. She works with us at Stanbic, I just said that. And she works as a back-end engineer, or she's worked as a back-end engineer for a fintech, and she's built solutions for different Nigerian banks. She's a computer science graduate from Babcock, and for leisure, Moin likes to watch movies. Good morning, Moin. Hi, Moin, we can't hear you. Please confirm that you're muted. Yes, I can hear you now.
Right.
Yes,
Hi.
I can hear you and I can see you.
All right.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, I'll just introduce our next speaker. If Bisola and TK can please just show their screen so that we have them on. When you can keep your video on. Good morning, Furo. Our next speaker is Ibifu Apiafi. She used to manage entrepreneur selection and growth at Endeavor. She's a result-driven manager, and she's very well versed in leading teams and driving business transformation. I did mention that she used to lead the innovation team here at Stanbic IBTC, and she has a BEng in chemical engineering from University of Nottingham, and she also holds an MSc in chemical process engineering from the University College of London. Good morning, Furo.
Morning.
Please confirm that you can hear me. Oh yes. Hi, so good to see you. Even if it's virtual, but it's still good to see your face today.
Good
morning, everyone. Yeah, so we got a lot of questions, and it's time to pretty much go into it and discover really how do we break into tech, so to speak. I will start with TK. I mean, and this is because this question is just off of your presentation. It got me intrigued really, because you are in almost every room you enter, you are the only one. So you play in a field where we don't see a lot of women. What even led you in the first place to start your career in tech? And how have you just continued to navigate and steer this course?
Thank you very much, Vivian. And I'll answer this question as honestly as I can, right? Okay, so how did I venture into tech? First off, yeah, I studied computer science, or like I said in my presentation, I could have pretty much studied anything else because I didn't understand anything I did in school. I mean, I graduated in third class, graduated 10 years after, I spent 10 years in school for a 5-year course to show you how badly I did in school, right? But that's not the point. So the turning point for me was, there was this day I was pregnant. I was pregnant with my child, and I was cooking, right? I was boiling rice, and I stood in front of the gas cooker. Of course, I was broke, and I totally had to depend on people, my family, my husband, and all that. So every month, for financial support and all that. This day I was boiling rice and gas finished. I didn't have a dime, right, to refill gas. That was the lowest point of my life. I was so depressed, and I just looked at myself like, how did I get here? How did I get here? I cried so much. It broke my heart. Like, can you imagine how irresponsible can I be? I'm bringing a child to this world, and I don't even have a dime to my name, right? That day, I made up my mind in front of the gas cooker while boiling that rice. I made up my mind that this was going to be the last day I was going to remain at that situation. I picked up my phone, and guess what? I just typed, how will I make money in Nigeria as a woman? Honestly, that was what I typed. And the funny thing is, Providence will have it. The first response Google sent back to me was software engineering. Do you get? And like software engineering. No, you have to be kidding me. Is this not where I failed that they almost chased me out of the school? But because I promised myself that I would do whatever it takes. I mean, there and then I just said, look, even if I'll try, even if I fail, I will know that at least I made an effort to do something about my life. So I just said, I checked again, where can I learn software engineering? Where can I learn how to code? And of course, different responses came. And the first one I saw, I mean, one of the first ones I saw was Codecademy, like a platform to study. Believe me, I just went there. At that point, Codecademy was free. So I just started. I didn't have a computer. I didn't have money, right, to buy data and all that. Guess what? Of course, from the monies my parents, gave me, my husband and all that, every day, I don't know if you're familiar with what they call AJO, daily contribution. So there's this man that will come to my estate every day, right, to collect from people that sell and everything. I just signed up with him. Baba, please, I want to do contribution. I'll do 200 naira, 100 naira, 300 naira every day. At the end of the month, I'll gather enough money to buy data and to pay for Codecademy Pro subscription. It carried me on for 7 months. Of course, in between, my child came in. Before then, I got a laptop, and I just kept studying and studying. By 7 months, I was learning Python and a couple of JavaScript and all that. I felt, okay, I'm confident. I can build a lot of things. I was like, okay, so where do I get a job? Then something just came to my mind, go on Twitter. I went on Twitter. I just started scrolling, but this time it was mindful scrolling. Then I saw a tweet about someone looking for a female software engineer. I just jumped on the tweet. I'm a female software engineer. I'm not senior, but I'm intern. Can I get an internship? I just shot my shot. I had this it. And the guy was like, nice, but there was no space for an internship role and everything. But I should just keep doing what I'm doing. My opportunity will come. Guess what? And on that same thread, someone just jumped on that thread and was like, they needed interns and everything. I should send my CV, my portfolio. Wow, I did. And 2 weeks after, I got the role. That was how I broke into tech. So for me, key things, I just decided. The next steps was not clear to me, but I just knew that I cannot continue doing what I'm doing. We might say I enter tech for the money or whatever, I shall enter tech. But as I went on, it became clear to me that, look, this situation I was in and how I was able to transition, other people can draw strength from me. Other people can hear my story and be inspired and do the same thing. There are more women and women that could have been going through what I'm going through and everything. And I felt I really want to be an inspiration. That just drove me to just start the coding mom. And it just started in my office. I just reached out that, babe, how far? Do you know anybody that wants to learn how to code that I can mentor? And then I was like, okay. A friend said, oh, my sister, I would like her to learn how to code. Maybe share your story with her. I did. I reached out to her, we chatted, shared our experiences, I shared mine and everything. And we started on the journey, right? And today, I'm so proud to say she is a cloud developer. She has a job as a cloud developer. She's someone that has 2 kids, right? And that was doing nothing, no proud. I think she studied education or something. I'm so proud of her. There's this other lady too, 3 kids, and she now has a technical recruiting role. Not to say too much, but that's how I broke into tech, and that's my story. Thank you, Vivian.
Thank you so very much, TK. That's very inspiring. I and the hundreds of women in the chat room celebrate you this morning. There is really nothing to it. Make the decision. Clarity will come later. Just make the decision and go with it. Thank you very much, TK. My next question will be for Bisola. And to ask this question, I'm going to share a bit of a personal story. When I was asked to host this event, my first response was, hell no. I am not a woman in tech. So, and it took my line manager, amazing guy that he is, starting to convince me. So I said, no, I'm not a woman in tech. I'm a woman who works with tech. I'm a woman who works by tech. I'm a woman but I just kept insisting that I'm not a woman in tech. So I'll ask you, Bisola, first, by definition, or even from your experience, who is a woman in tech, so to speak?
Thank you, Vivian, for that question. Like I said, prior to this, people always think for you to be in tech, you have to be an engineer, you have to code. But my question has always been, so After coding, what else? How do you sell the solution to millions of people, right? We all know that technology is a scalable, is something that helps you get the product to millions of people, right? People don't talk about the support system in the technology space, right? So what does it mean to be a woman? To be a woman in tech means that you are helping organizations, save costs, right? You are efficient. You are helping them build a solution that can reach out to billions of people. That's the only difference. So the difference between a woman in a corner of a road selling bolly, you understand, selling plantain, and someone who goes online, to reach out to hundreds of people, delivering it to people, making millions of dollars, right? The difference is the technology, the strategic thinking behind it, the ability to strategize. So what it means to be a woman in tech is that you've provided a scalable solution. You can work with a diverse team. We can wake up in the morning and speak with someone in India building the same solution, and everybody is speaking the same language, right? That's what it means to be a woman, because tech is a universal language. Tech is tech. That's the beauty about it. As a business analyst, Vivian, if you meet someone in Canada, you are speaking the same language, right? So a woman in tech is intelligent, is just thinking scalable products. If you're I'm sure my friends, when they come and then they give me an idea, the first thing I'm asking them is it scalable? How many people can you reach? I don't want to hear that you are selling bedsheets in the corner of your room. If you can do that in the corner of your room, you can do that, you can reach out to millions of people. So if it's scalable, if you can come up with a solution that is scalable, then you're a woman in tech. If you're helping organizations save, cost, you're a woman in tech. If you're helping them put their products in front of, people through sales or customer service, you're a woman in tech. You understand? So a woman in tech is a solution provider. That's just basically it for me. You don't necessarily have to be an engineer. You don't necessarily have to be a business analyst. Just think strategically, and then of course, think scalable, scale.
Thank you very much, Bisola. I'll quickly go to Moin. Moin, are you here with us? Because your camera is off. I can't see you. If you can please turn on your video.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, my video. Yes. Hi.
Okay. Hi, Moin, I can see you now. So you're currently a software developer. And I would like to ask, from your perspective, why do you think it's important for women today to join the tech space?
Okay, so I'm just going to ride on what TK had said, right? She had shared her experience about being the only one on a team initially. And I can say that in my sub team too at the moment, or in fact, for the 3-4 places I've worked, I've always been the only one there, right? So even if it's for anything, I want one woman to join so that in my next team, I have many more people with me, right? I mean, I know that it's not so bad that, I have guys with me and everything, but it really feels nice to have someone else that's like you, that you can relate with on your team, right? Now, that's one. First things first is tech space. Even though people have been championing and trying to get more women to come into tech, there's still a lot of imbalance in the numbers, right? So you can see that for some people, the ratio is like 80-20. For some people, the ratio is like 90-10. For some, they don't even have any female on the team, right? So there is a lot of room for women to get into tech, a lot of room. And like Bisola also mentioned, you don't have to code. I've had people reach out to me to say they'll tell me they want to get into tech. What programming language should they learn? And I already know that that's wrong, because you already assume that for you to be into tech, you need to write code. Not everybody would enjoy writing code, and not everybody will be able to write code, right? So many other opportunities you can go through to come into tech. There is a lot of room for many other women. There's a lot of room to do many amazing things. And I mean, like TK mentioned, there is also room to increase your income, right? So thankfully with tech, you're not even just limited to working in Nigeria or wherever you are, there are remote opportunities. You can be a mom. So before, you see that a mother that just gave birth, probably within the first year, she has to take a break because going to the office every day is not easy for her. But now you can just get a remote job. I mean, of course, your baby could still be crying and anything, but you're able to combine work, family, and even raising a baby now because you have a remote job that allows you to work from home and just communicate with your colleagues or reach out to your colleagues via internet, right? So it just has a lot of benefits to a woman, right? So yeah.
Thank you very much, Moin. Very interesting. Yeah, Moin wants, in fact, I want more women in tech. I want to be able to, and this is, I'm not being sexist or anything, just speaking from a personal perspective. I like to be able to engage more software developers that are female, who will probably speak in languages that I will understand better, that are less technical than what a man would just, throw out there for me. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you very much, Moin, for that. I would just go to Ibi. For you've had a very interesting journey, quite interesting. I would like to ask, how do you think the industry has changed since you joined? And do you think enough is being done to help women get into tech?
Thanks, Vivian. So I think in terms of like the evolution of the industry, I've seen that in recent years, there's a lot more representation and there's a lot more, I guess, support being offered to women in the ecosystem. And that's really, really great. But the reality is that there's still a lot of room. There's still a lot of room for work to be done. To Bisola's point earlier, when she made her presentation, there's still quite a large gap in terms of, if you look at a lot of organizations, if you look at even like founders in the ecosystem, you'll find that there's still a large percentage that are men. If you look at funding, for instance, in the technology ecosystem in 2021, I think only 1% of the, I think $4 billion that was raised on the continent went to female founders, right? So there's stuff being done. We're seeing lots of organizations that are coming out to support women, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And I think the work needs to be done across, I guess, I say 4 different things. So one is representation. So events like this help a lot because it gives women the opportunity to see people like themselves doing the work that they aspire to do. And I guess that just naturally helps people see that, look, demystify those roles and demystify these opportunities in the ecosystem, right? To make it a bit easier for them to, I guess, imagine themselves doing the work. Second thing is around allyship. The reality is, like you mentioned, your fantastic line manager, Laulu, you need people like that to like push you, on the job. I know that in terms of my career, I've had a lot of solid guys around me that have sort of helped, I guess I say, push my thinking, push my thinking, because especially while I was at Stanbic, a lot of people on my team, on the innovation team at the time were guys. And I realized that I would walk into the room and I would feel just, I guess, grateful to be in the room as a woman. But then from my conversations with them, I realized I needed to aspire to more and want more for myself. And so having those allies in your corner and as part of your support network, like having the women as support is great, but then we also need men in your corner as well, because if you look at the ecosystem, they are still the, in quote, gatekeepers. And so you need them on your side as well to help break the barriers in the ecosystem. The third and fourth thing is really around funding and support. So we have organizations like First Check, for instance, funded by Aloha and Eldor Piggyvest, who are now actively investing in female-founded companies at the very early stage. They're doing fantastic work, but we need more people focused on giving money to African female founders, right? We also need more people providing opportunities for female operators as well in the ecosystem, because not everybody's going to be a founder, but we also need people to support more women to be operators in the ecosystem to actually help build these organizations. Organizations need to be conscious about having, I guess, more diverse teams, and we need to get past the stage of tokenism. I don't think at this point TK should not be the only person in her team, and Moyin should also not be the only one in her team. We've gone way past that, right? So I think organizations need to, I said this during International Women's Day, that I think we need to get past everybody posting nice pictures on Instagram and Twitter on International Women's Day. and get to the point where every organization comes forward and states exactly what they've achieved in the last year in terms of empowering women and giving women more opportunities. Because that, I think, it was nice at first because it brought a lot of awareness to the fact that women need more opportunities. But I think we've gotten to the point where we need now like more tangible evidence of what organizations are doing in terms of empowering women. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that was interesting to hear. I mean, I like the fact about allyship, and I'm sure I've seen a few people put it down in the chat box. You need an ally to ride you through. If there's one thing we'll take out of all of this is you need somebody to ride you through. Find the important information that you need and get the funding that is required. I would just circle back to Bisola. Bisola, with Heels and Tech, how's the journey been so far? I mean, I'm sure you guys are, you've faced your own number of challenges. If you could just speak to a few of these challenges and the challenges that you faced, the challenges that you've seen the women in your community face, and how they've been able to surmount it.
Okay, thank you for that question. The challenges, I would just like to point on two challenges. First one being maybe funding, right? And second being the social cultural norms. So funding in the sense that we've established that women are interested in technology. It's not like they are running away and you have to hold them like, no, you must come. They are interested, right? But because of the quality of courses we offer, right? And we need funding, right? So the women, we all know that women are the largest, they control the economy in the sense that in terms of spending, right? Even in households too, right? They control how much is spent in each family. So for some, the school fees, like I always call it, is not the problem. But I would like to reach out to a wider set of women. So scholarships, although organizations are coming on board to partner with us, to fund more women, right? But to reach out to close that gap, to ensure that in the next 5 years, we are not having this conversation. Organizations have to set up, budgets that this will go towards education, right? The female child. Let's donate to Youth and Tech. Let's donate to the Code Mom, because these facilitators, to put in their best, they also need to be encouraged, right? So nobody is going to be doing something for free for a very long time, even if they do it for 1 week, 2 weeks, but for a course that would run for like 7 weeks, where you are putting in your all, funding us to go into education. And I always say that education sometimes does not even you don't need to raise funds. Education has to be maybe grants or something, maybe organizations coming together, maybe Endeavor saying that let's support these mom organizations or these female-led organizations. The funding is a problem for some people, for the quality of courses. So we are not selling just anyhow courses that would fetch you 5 naira. We want a course that, as you are graduating and as you are interviewing, you are negotiating for a six-figure salary. Let's say 120,000 USD or 120 CAD. These are the salaries that students are negotiating for. We are not saying that after this course, go and start learning 30,000. No, we don't want that. So for you to learn such a high skill, organizations have to come together to fund and support brands that are in the edtech space. That's number one. And number two, yes, we are speaking about women in tech. The social cultural issues, like we need to start speaking with families on how, talking to the men on how they need to support their wives, and not just in giving them money, but okay, I've decided that I want to take this course. Please, for the next 6 weeks, help me with these children. We don't want to be hearing children crying in class because women don't have anywhere to keep their kids, right? These are issues that has really bothered us. When we speak with them and then the kids are crying, Some of them even probably are pregnant and then they lose their children, they lose their kids. You understand? And those are emotional things. These are things that men don't know that, bothers women, right? So as Stanbic is organizing women in tech, let's be talking about the men in the family. Please support your wives. These are the issues, right? We just while Tokumba was sharing one of her stories, right? I remember a woman that joined us. She graduated 10 years ago. It's just common here in Africa, where after you graduate, your husband will tell you, don't worry, I'll take care of the family, you take care of it. And unfortunately, she lost her husband to cancer. While doing that, the husband's family collected all the property. She signed up with her savings, and she was like that she doesn't even know if she has the brain to go back to school, right? But she graduated with computer science. She needs to dust her certificate. I was like, you can do it. She signed up for her Salesforce class. Sometimes she won't be able to attend classes because she was always going to court. They were always having issues on the property, on something that you won't try with a man, right? Luckily for her, she was able to get a job in the healthcare industry here in Nigeria with fantastic perks. But the struggle to get to that point, a man will not go through that. I've never heard it. When men enroll in our classes, they don't tell us, are you having any issues? No issues. We are good, we are fine. But when women begin to talk about issues, these are issues beyond our control. So as we are encouraging women to get into tech, let's also start speaking with the other gender. We are not fighting, but let's encourage us. You understand? Because now I'm here and I've already told my husband that please, those kids, just keep them somewhere, you understand? Without the support, I won't be here today. They will just be screaming into my ears. So these are the issues. It's not because women are not interested. They are interested. We are entrepreneurs and we are great entrepreneurs, right? We can do amazing things, but so many things are working against us. And we need to start speaking about it so that at least we can all enjoy this industry 4.0. So it will be people like Henry Ford in 1804 that enjoy the mechanization, the mechanized industry. Like you see women coming up with amazing ideas. And when our generations to come, are speaking about the industry 4.0, maybe during the industry 7.0, it won't be about just the men alone. It won't be about Elon Musk alone. It will just be about, there was gender equality, and while men were doing their thing, women were doing their thing, we're solving these issues. And so those are the challenges that they can only speak on for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bisola. Women have experienced challenges with funding, and we need support from the other gender. I would quickly speak to one of the challenges that I saw somebody drop on the group chat, and TK, if you can please just step in to help us take this question around career breaks. And these career breaks, we know what it is for us women, mostly maternity leave, having to step away to raise children, even just the 2 days away from work because a child is sick. How does it affect you? At work first, and what are the things that you can advise some of the women on the call today to do differently to handle these career breaks?
Awesome. Thank you very much, Vivian. And thank you, Bisola, for such an insightful response. First off, you cannot run away from career breaks. It will happen. It could be maybe as a mother, like you said, maternity leave, or you're trying to sort out your child's health, or even as a single person, you need time off work because it sometimes gets overwhelming and you need to take a break, maybe 2 weeks, a month and all that. So just, sort yourself out and all. For me, I have more like a formula that has worked for me, right? Let me give an example of when my first day in tech, and I was a front-end engineer, and my daughter became very, very ill, seriously ill. I had to, stay with her in the hospital and all that. And there's always a deadly time. I mean, there's always a deadly deadline to something to deliver, right? So always something to deliver. And this was like one of those times. There was this feature we're working on, and I had to close out on so many things, and my daughter was ill. First off, remember I said you can't afford to do life alone as a technical person, right? You can't afford to do life alone. You need a mentor, you need an ally. That aside, two, you need to be in a mental state where you can find a way to balance what is happening at that moment and your deliverables. So let's say you took maybe 2 weeks off, or let's say it's even a maternity leave you've taken off. And of course, you need to drop everything you're working on. And there's this fear of how, because tech is a very fast moving train. How will I cope? How will I, how will I, what's that word now? How will I get back on the train and, remember everything I was working on and everything I was doing and all that? There's something that I do, right? Every day, every time I'm off work, even if it's leave days off work, what I do is, because I wake up, for me, this is what works for me. It might not work for someone else, but this is just my template. Every day I spend at least an hour refreshing on the things I know and the things I need to know. So I have a chart. So every year, every quarter, I have a chart on technologies I need to be abreast of, technologies I need to ramp up on, and new technologies I need to learn, right, that are relevant to what I'm doing. I'm a systems engineer, which involves DevOps engineering, site reliability engineering, right, a lot of automation and configuration. So I have a lot of tools. So let me share with you, like this quarter, there are like some tools that I'm trying to refresh on, I'm trying to learn a lot on, which is, for example, Build Kite, Console and Nomad, right? I've not worked with them before, but having that, I need to know them because it's what I use on my present, on my day-to-day. So every day I spend an hour learning new things about Build Kite or Console or Nomad every day. So I might not actively code, it might just be reading an article, it might be listening to a podcast, but it has to be related to any of these topics. So if you can draw out like a learning path or a chart for yourself that will entail, because you must be intentional. Intentionality is the thing. Like you are taking a break, fine, but how are you managing the things that need to be done? Because like I said, tech is a fast moving train. You don't move with it to drop you off, because there are a lot of things you need to learn and relearn and drop. There was a time I was working heavily with Jenkins as a build tool. Now I don't use Jenkins anymore, right? I have to drop that and pick something else. So there's always a learning and relearning and unlearning phase. So the best way I can say you will cope is to be intentional about your learning. What are you learning every day? Like nobody can learn for you. And this is why I keep telling my ladies too, that see, I can point you in the right direction. I can get you courses. I can teach you this. But babe, is you by yourself you will learn this thing. Like you need to draw out a timetable for yourself, intentionally putting in the work. So for every time you're on break away from your career, don't take a break from your learning and development every day. 1 hour is the minimum. 30 minutes cannot cut it. Sincerely, 30 minutes cannot cut it. 1 hour is the minimum every day. Learn something new. Relearn something that needs to be learned. Unlearn what you feel you will not need. Like I said, things keep popping up. You drop some things and learn some other things. There was a time I was heavy on Kubernetes. Now it's normal than on, right? Of course, the learnings will be relevant somewhere else or sometime else, but what you are learning has to be relevant and applicable to your position, your context at that time. Yeah, thank you very much, Vivian.
Thank you very much, Tukumbo. Interesting there. So while you are even on break, do not stop learning. Keep learning and be intentional about that learning. Draw a timetable if you may, but just keep learning. Let the breaks not define you, and it would definitely not go to waste. So I'll just come back to Bisola. Bisola, this is a quick one, and this is even me asking. What do you think about, do you still think that there is a pay equity gap? This is for women in general, and then if you speak at it from a tech perspective, do you still think that a pay equity gap exists? And what do you think can be done to kind of close that gap?
Yeah, oh yes. Oh yes. And that's because, number one, women are not so, I don't know why we are not so confident when it comes to commanding a huge salary, right? We don't even ask. Let's even start with that. We don't ask for the right.
I I think we lost Bisola there. Can anyone else see her?
Okay, I can see her, but I can't hear her.
Okay. So I can't see Bisola, neither can I hear her. I'm sure we'll circle back to that question. Somebody had asked also in the comment section as to how they can negotiate their salary. So when she comes back on, okay. So I can see you now, but you're muted.
Oh, okay. Yeah, apologies.
All right. Yes.
All right. So yes, it exists, and that's because, number one, when it comes to money, we don't like to talk about money. We are not confident enough to ask for the right salaries that we desire, right? It's a global issue. It's not even in Nigeria. Even in America, the figures are there, right? But what I would say is with communities, okay, initially I said the reason why there's a gap is, the lack of community. Like I always tell people, it's not a competition. We need like 100 groups of use and tech, 100 groups of mom coding. It's not just about women don't do well with let me just sign up and then watch this thing and then move on. We thrive in communities. We excel when we are in groups, right? And we ask counterpart, the other counterpart, like what is going on? Put me through. So I see through use and tech, we also talk about the right salary to earn for this particular role. And there are people talking about sharing their experiences too, right? But to buttress your question, it exists. But are women going through that? Yes. Because when our students are interviewing, sometimes they ask our mentors, okay, so how much this company wants to offer me $70,000, for instance, maybe a student in Canada, for instance. I'll be like, oh no, you can't do that. You can't accept that. Negotiate to, let's say, 90,000. And they do that and they come back and thank us. You understand? Imagine if there was no guidance. So yes, while we exist, there are communities like Use and Tech, like the Mom Code Project, ensuring that we don't leave women behind when it comes to negotiation. I don't know if the men are experiencing this, but I know that men are naturally confident, maybe because of the financial burden they go through at home. And of course, like I said, women are becoming breadwinners, right? So we can't even afford to be laid back. So while this is true, join communities. There are several online. Join communities. Just go online. Make sure you ask questions. When you have an interview, never ever accept the first salary. Never. That's the rule. That's what we tell them. Never, even if you are desperate, never ever do that. And someone is saying, how do I join? There are several groups online. Stop following Insta blog, except if you want to to laugh, or maybe we are just bored. But there are several communities online that are coming together to inform people about the issues like this. So never accept the first salary, right? Have a mentor, have an ally. If you are interviewing and you are not in a community, you can talk to maybe a guy that will boost your confidence. But the fact that you know that it's a problem already, when you know that there's a problem, the problem is outsolved. So when you know that there's a problem, it's outsolved, and when you're getting into that, and make sure you upskill too. Men always have time to upskill. Men don't have time to upskill. But now that we've established that there are problems, there are social norms that will hold you back, ensure you upskill, just like what Okubo said. There's no excuse. So if you know that you are armed with the right skill, you are confident enough to negotiate your salary. You can't go there and say, oh, I'm sorry, my daughter was sick last week, and that, I mean, you know, because of that, I could not upskill. Because of that, I don't know how to do this. Nobody wants to listen to that. You want to listen to the fact that you pulled through despite that. You understand? Like, even was one when I was heavily pregnant. I was dragging myself. I was, you know, sleeping during webinars, but I did it. You understand? That's what people want to. That's what people are interested in. Those are the stories they're interested in. So as a woman too, despite all odds, upskill, arm yourself with allies, right? And make sure you are talking to someone during your interview, and never ever accept the first pay. So it's a problem, but women are navigating around it. They're navigating themselves around it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thank you so much for that. So, I mean, Joy Ben had asked around how to negotiate his salary, but I think your response does justice to that question. I would quickly go to Moyin. Moyin, this is just to ask, what does the future of tech look like to you? And what projects interest you, just as we are today? And what does the future of tech look like from your perspective as a woman?
Okay, so first of all, I've heard people say though that just as there was a craze in maybe oil or something, there's going to be a time when it's like tech is also phasing out. I don't believe so, because like Bisola said, the tech in itself isn't just an industry, right? There's still a lot of things that you get to do with it. And as we advance and as things advance, the fact that you can even say press your microwave to actually set your microwave for 1 minute to warm your food, that's already technology, right? So there's always going to be a need for tech, even in the future. Like I see a broader or wider need, right? Now, for a woman in tech, there are many communities doing a lot, to be honest. And even though you may argue that it's not still enough, but there are already a lot and there are still more coming up, right? So people are learning now that they can join these communities for support. People are learning now that they can take courses online. There is more help. People are more aware of like many ideas. People are also more aware of the fact that technology isn't just for men, right? It was a conception that many of us grew up with, right? Thinking that coding and all these, I've heard people say tech is hard, isn't it just for men? Women should be in these fields because it gives them more time to focus on family and stuff. But even with tech, you can still focus on your family. There are people doing it. Bisola is doing it. Dokumbo is doing it. They have children and they are merging everything. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I mean, it can be done, right? So the future for us is that I see that a lot of women are going to come into the field, maybe not to dominate in the long run, but I mean, when we have a 50-50, right? When we have a 50-50 comparison, when there's like 50% of women and there's 50% of men, that's going to be a beautiful thing to behold for me as a woman in tech, right? And then for projects that I look forward to working in, to be honest, I don't have an exact thing. For me, I'm very interested in doing things that I know people are going to use, doing things that I know solve problems in the long run. So projects that are very exciting, projects that I see that can impact lives, right? Projects that I see that can solve future problems. Those are kind of projects I ideally like to hop on. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Moyin. So that's the second time I'm hearing problem solving in tech. So tech basically is problem solving. Can you solve problems? Can you think critically, you know, how to get one problem from where it starts to where it actually meets the need of users? Then you are in the right space. I would just go to Furo, and this is just piggybacking off of Moyin's response. Could you talk to us about current trends in tech, you know, and for some of the ladies on the call who do not want to go into coding, being the most popular field in tech, what other non-coding opportunities are there, and how can we tie it to some of these current trends?
All right, thanks, Vivian. So I mean, in terms of trends, I don't know, I think it was Bisola, someone mentioned earlier anyways, that the ecosystem is constantly evolving. The pace at which things are new technologies and new things are being used in the ecosystem, it's tricky to keep up with. And so instead of stating the trends, what the current trends are, I'd rather point people in a direction as to how to stay on top of what the trends are and how to constantly, I guess, navigate the ecosystem. So for me, one thing that I did quite, I guess, especially much earlier in my career was constantly, like I had like a, let's say, target list of organizations, and I would constantly just go there and explore the kind of roles that they were recruiting for, and then seeing if I had the skills that matched the types of roles that I thought that I'd be personally interested in. So constantly doing that, and then reaching out to people. Like I sent so many cold LinkedIn messages early on in my career. A lot of them were aired, but then at the same time, a lot of them were responded to, and people actually spend time with me talking through what they do, and just helps me, I guess, find a bit more clarity in terms of what my interests are versus what the actual roles were, and then helps me navigate, finding the roles that I guess at the end of the day worked for me in the industry. So yeah, I think the main thing is like the roles are constantly evolving. I think someone had posted earlier in the chat a bunch of non-code roles. I'm trying to find that. But like your role, for instance, business analysis, I at some point was an innovation manager, so helping like look through customer journeys and understanding what those journeys are, and helping the product teams to build solutions. There's user experience design. There are lots of things that don't require you to actually know any line of code. I studied chemical engineering. I have not, I still don't understand what they do in terms of code. All I know is that I'm building for this customer. These are my requirements. Tech guys, do your magic. I just need to make sure that it works for my customers the way I want it to work for my customers from my end. So it's important that, look out for the tech companies that you are interested in, the people that are raising the fund, follow the money. People that are raising funds, go and see what they're doing. Look at the kinds of roles that they have openings for, and see where your skills might fit in. I think a lot of people discount themselves because they think that maybe because they've been working in traditional organizations or they've done roles that they mentally don't consider as tech roles, they can't apply and work for supposed technology companies. But you'll find that a lot of the skill sets are transferable. I think it was Bisola that spoke earlier about transferable skills between traditional organizations and like tech organizations, in terms of, as after all the tech nice snazzy solutions are built, you still need a sales team, and sales cuts across traditional, I don't know, selling pharmaceutical goods and then selling technology products. Just a matter of taking time out to understand the product that you're trying to sell, right? And then pushing that into the market. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, thank you very much, Firu. I really like that. The first thing that stuck to me was follow the money. Follow the money. Where's the money coming from? Then look at the product from start to finish. What are the roles that are required to get this product from start to finish? You don't have to code. Leave it to them and to Kumbo. I wouldn't even try to attempt to understand how to code, but that's the journey that we are on. So I would come back to, I'll come back to me. In your experience here, how do you handle the more mental issues, that arise from being a woman in tech, being the only woman in the room? And when I say mental issues, we've dealt with the challenges that cut across everyone, but the mental issues are now a bit more personal, a bit more specific. Personally, I would say that in almost every conversation, at least when I started, there was that imposter syndrome, and this is because I started my journey as a makeup artist, which compared to where I am now, the gap is like here. So you get that imposter syndrome, like, oh, you're not supposed to be in this room. So those mental issues that kind of creep on you on the journey, how do you handle it?
Okay, so I would say that to deal with, first of all, right, these things, the whole imposter syndrome and mental issue, I don't think that something that just, I don't think it's something you just fix like in a snap, right? For me now, I'm going to be giving myself as an example. Growing up, I have a brother, I have my dad, so two men. It's not like I had a lot of sisters. I didn't even have any sister, right? So that already sort of like shaped me, because I don't feel out of place with men, right? I don't feel out of place with men. And then also growing up, I did computer science in Babcock. At the time, we're like 140 and 120 were men, or 124, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm already sort of like used to being out of place, right? For lack of better words. So I'm already sort of like used to being out of place, for lack of better words, right? But I also understand the fact that there is, or in the past, there was an ability to look down on a female developer, because I've heard people say some people just employ women because they are women, because they're trying to bridge gaps and stuff, right? And it's not true, because no company will just hire you to be giving you a salary if you can't do the job, right? So the first thing is to have a mental switch, or to convince yourself mentally that, first of all, you went through an interview process, you did the tests. Nobody in this company is running charity. For them to hire you or take a chance on you, the truth is that they most likely saw something in you that made them hire you. So that already gives you an idea that you're actually meant to be in this room. Now, the second thing is, wherever you see that you doubt yourself in, like without doubt, I still deal with imposter syndrome on some days. So let me not say I've even overcome it. I still deal with imposter syndrome on some days. But when you realize that there are some areas that make me doubt myself, there are some areas that make me think maybe I'm not as good as these guys, just I highlight those areas and improve yourself in them. My trick to giving myself confidence is to make myself know it so much, right? So once I realized that, okay, for instance, guys are doing better at, say, CICD or something, I just go and read on it. What are you guys really learning? I want to also learn it too, right? The moment a lot of knowledge, you begin to get confidence. And so when guys are speaking, you're able to speak to, because we did the same courses, we know the same things, we deployed together to the same server, right? So what makes you different? Why can't I do what you do? So it starts with a mental shift, right? First thing is, you're in the company, or you're in the organization, or you got employed, or you're even in tech. I mean, you're in God did not give a guy more brain or whatever, right? Everybody has the same capacity to learn slower, and some learn faster, but everybody has the same ability to learn, right? So you're learning already, and you're in the organization because they actually saw something that was what's paying you for, bringing you in for. So that should already convince you that you're not just someone that should be at them behind, right? Second thing is, also remind myself that being the only female, or being among the few females in a team, I sort of like put the responsibility on myself to say, I need to convince these people that they need to bring in more women, right? So you hear my team lead normally say he likes to work with me sometimes because I can multitask. Once you reach out to me, it's easy for me to get a response. And maybe because females naturally are able to multitask more. But I just have to say, for every room I enter where there are less women, I want to convince the guys to bring him in. So there has to be something that is making them see that women actually have the strengths, right? It's good to have them on the team. So just do a mental work, convince yourself, I'm here for it, right? Because I work for it. Nobody handed to me on a platter of gold. Yeah, so those are just some of the things I do to just reinforce myself and convince myself that I'm actually meant to be in this room. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maria, and thank you for representing the millions of women around the world in tech when you are speaking and working on your team. What I picked from what you've said is, to deal with these mental issues, first you have to remind yourself that you earned it, and you earned it by the basis of your hard work, the knowledge that you have, and also remember that you are representing more women after you. So you have to, put forward your best foot, really, your best foot. We're going to go to the Q&As, and we'll take some questions from the audience. And I'll just take this question from Ntiense Sunday. I hope I got that correctly. Furu, if you would please help us do justice to this question. She's asking, for the women in tech, do you have an age range to admit someone?
So the person's asking, there's an age limit to get into technology?
Come into tech, yes.
No, I think from what Tokumbo shared earlier, that there's no age limit, right? I think the most important thing is like a thirst for knowledge, because you're going to have to, like, if you're ready to learn new skills and ready to really apply yourself and be quite proactive about your learning, I think that takes you a very long way. I don't know that there's like an age limit for getting into technology. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Furu. Tokumbo, there are tons of requests for internship, tons. I am afraid I'm going to put you on the spot. And she coding, for the coding moms, really, what's the entry requirement so that the moms on the call who have been asking can know how to join this community?
Okay, I'll probably just share the link, right?
Okay.
No requirements, actually. We'll just have a chat, get to know where you're coming from, what you're trying to achieve, right? And we'll help you in the best way, right? Because each person's journey is actually different. There's no one size that fits all. So based off your experiences and what you're trying to, it's more personalized. So we can't take so many people at once. Do you get? So we just try to take as much as we can handle part time, but I'll definitely drop a link and then, yeah, have people come on board. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Tokumbo. I think we have two more minutes to go, so we'll take the very last question. Bistola, I would ask, what do you think that we women can do? And this is now for everybody on the call. What do we then do to support? Some speakers would have spoken to it, but from your perspective, how do we support other women to come into tech? I mean, if you would just speak to it from first what Hills and Tech would do, and then from a broader perspective.
Just basically sharing your stories. Everyone's sharing their stories. I'm also guilty of this, right? Because as an introvert, nobody knows me, but you know the brand, right? But if everyone comes together to share their stories, every woman will be motivated. You know, like Tokumbo shared a story. That's like an inspiring story. And to be honest, that's a lot of, if you visit Facebook, a lot of women are going through what she went through. Imagine if she was out there and then, you know, she shared her stories. They would, you know, they would be forced to take up, you know, something. They would know that they are not alone. Most growing up, you know, when you see issues like this, you feel that you are alone. But I've just come to realize that you are not alone, right? The communities are there, right? They are coming up. But if more women can share their stories, their challenges, and how they are navigating through, they will be fine. So what we do at Hills and Tech is, you know, women come, we talk about how before and after, on how they were a lawyer or an event planner, or the challenges they went through. You know, some will say, oh, they had a miscarriage, but they still pulled through. So if you're a woman in Ekiti, for instance, and you're reading the story, you're like, oh, I just had a miscarriage. It's not a big deal. 3 out of 4 women would always have a miscarriage, you understand? So instead of you crying your eyes in one corner of your house, you know that this is not peculiar to only me, so I can do this, right? So women sharing their stories is important. Storytelling is important, and all women should do that. That's the only way. That's the only way. And they're coming up, but we need more people to inspire women. That's just the only solution.
Thank you very much, Bisola. It really can be that simple. Just speak, share your story. And for a fact, the more success stories you hear as an individual, the more you're inspired to get into certain fields, and in this situation, tech. Thank you so very much, ladies. I have had a good time. I mean, and from the comments that I see in the chat box rather, we have also had a good time. I've learned a lot. We're all on the journey together, learning every day and growing every day. So thank you very much, TK. Thank you, Furo. Thank you, Bisola, and thank you very much, Moin. This brings us to the end of the Q&A. We still know that there are some questions in the Q&A box. Yes, we will take them and respond to them shortly after. But thank you very much. If you can please give a big round of applause for our speakers, and they have been very, very spot on with their responses, and they just helped, get us going this morning. We'll then quickly go into the post-session events. This is now our networking bit, where everybody, and I will start by sharing their, it could be your LinkedIn. Let's connect. Let's get to know each other. My name is Vivian Obiaju. I'll put that in full, and that's my name on LinkedIn. You would not miss it if you searched. I would also appreciate if the speakers can do, if you can share any detail with the audience so that they can connect with you after. We've gotten quite a number of requests for connection. We would also be dropping a link now. Yes, I believe Ifunaya has dropped that link. There's a link that I'll be dropping in the chat room. If you can please go there, submit your CVs. If you can, let us get to know you. We are really interested in getting to know you here at Stanbic IBTC. So please use the link to drop your detail. Thank you very much, ladies. I have had so much fun this morning. We're looking to end this at 11:15, and I think we were right on track with that. We'll be having these events from time to time, and we hope that when we call next time, you would honor us with your presence. So thank you very much, everyone, and have an amazing Saturday. From myself and Ifunaya and everybody else here at Stanbic IBTC, we appreciate you so much for coming out this morning, and do have a fantastic day ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye, Tokumbo. Bye, Furo.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to our speakers. Please feel, if you would like to share or get us to know more about you, please fill the link that has been posted in the chat room. Also, to the ladies I called who, won one prize item or the other, please send your details, send your name, phone number, and preferred delivery address to host and panelists. Try not to send to everyone. We don't want that information being everywhere, but please send to host and panelists. Like Vivian said, thank you to everyone. We'll also be dropping a link for the post-event survey when we're done with this. And I just hope that, we want to know how you felt about the session, and then we're looking forward to receiving your feedback. So thank you once again to everyone.